Today we're going to be getting back into
Anadarko Petroleum
and the connections with Nikki Kessinger. Was Nikki Kessinger's stepmother, Chris Watts, boss at the time of all this? Question mark. I put a poll up in my community tab and asked you guys if you think Nikki Kessinger met Chris Watts in June of 2018, or do they go back to June of 2017, or do you think they go back prior to June of 2017? Nearly 70% of you guys, 70% of you guys thought they go the long way back, if you catch what I'm swaying. Then I got to thinking how hardcore certain YouTube channels are going to debunk that this is Nikki Kessinger getting off the plane next to Chris Watts and also sitting alone at the beach next to Chris Watts. Which, if you really put that into just coincidences, you know, how often do coincidences really happen? It's like a 1 in a million chance that you'd have a person's who just killed their entire family's mistress, doppelganger or clone or twin show up at two locations where the wife was accusing him of cheating and he was acting strangely, his odd behavior. You know, that's a really low coincidence rate. And in a murder case, you would call those leads, correct? So the thing that got me to thinking was, A, why is certain channels trying to misdirect or redirect our eyes away from the video evidence and back to the shadows? Don't look over there at the clear pictures. Look at the shadows. Let's keep chasing shadows, y'all. So y'all can keep chasing shadows. Over here, we're chasing Shanann's lives that no one wants us to look at. So when no one wants us to look at it, that is a red flag flapping in the wind. Now, there is absolutely zero hate for Nichol Kessinger. If she was on the trip with Chris Watts, it makes sense. I don't see why she wouldn't just be like, yeah, hell yeah, that's me. Clearly, that's me. He had me fooled, whatever, you know, and we would just shut up about it. But this business of, in my opinion, doctored photos of close-ups, quote-unquote, that only certain people have connections to get, I find that interesting, especially when this all began. We had people coming out saying that Dwayne Kessinger's wife, Donna Delleney, the wife of Dwayne Kessinger and the stepmother to Nichol Kessinger, was Chris Watts' boss at the time. So let's say you're saying to the opposing side that says, oh, no way, that is not Nichol Kessinger in North Carolina. No way. It don't look like her nothing. It doesn't resemble her at all. The brown bikini is just a coinky-dinky do. They don't walk alike. They don't, you know, it just doesn't add up to them. It's kind of fishy because they're saying, oh, well, she clocked in at Anadarko. You mean the same Anadarko that was sued multiple times by multiple employees and silenced them for other accidents at their oil sites, and also was involved in Deepwater Horizon, one of the largest oil spills known to man? Deepwater Horizon, one of the biggest oil spills known, one of the most humongous unnatural disasters known. And also, they sold their company exactly 1 year later, almost to the day of the murders of Shanann, Bella, Celeste, and baby Nico, to a company called Occidental, which is kind of coincidental, where Chris Watts admitted to trying to take out the baby, quote unquote, but was he really trying to take out Shanann in North Carolina with a pill he called Oxys, which is the nickname or the shortened abbreviated name for the company that bought out Anadarko, where Nichol Kessinger's stepmother, Donna Delleney, allegedly was Chris Watts' direct boss. They sold their company 1 year after the murders of the Watts family, Shanann, Bella, Celeste, and Shanann was pregnant with their son Nichol. On August 13th of 2018, were murdered in the very early hours between 2 a.m. and 5 a.m. They were murdered in a very suspicious way, and then Chris Watts confessed and the whole investigation was shut down. No one else was investigated. So when people come up with her height, Nichol Kessinger's height, weight, blah, 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 all that stuff, where are they getting this information? Excuse me, but where are you getting this information? Your inside information, quote unquote. I find it fascinating that the same channels that are running all this confusion, placing blame on one person 1 second, then flip-flopping as usual. They're like a fish out of water, just flip-flopping around all over the place, keeping the people in confusion. But y'all are pretty wide awake from this right here. 125 people voted, and out of 125 people, 69% of y'all think Nikki and Chris Watts knew each other prior to 2017. That says a lot right there. Then we have Dwayne Kessinger's wife, Donna Delleney, who is allegedly Chris Watts' boss at the time. Then, and in August of 2019, Anadarko sold their company to Occidental Petroleum. So you're going to say to me that if it's Nichol Kessinger's stepmammy that's working as the boss, that we're going to trust that she clocked in that day? Okay, that would mean that we should just trust everything everybody says, right? No one should be questioned. People in places of power should never be questioned, right? Well, that sounds to me like a dictatorship. That doesn't sound to me like a justice system. Not to mention, Chris Watts did a lot of strange things that day, like put a red gas can in the back of his truck like he was going to blow up the site at Survey 319. So my question lies with Anadarko. And if it's a big multi-billion-dollar corporation whose Nichol Kessinger's whole family seems to have their whole hands in, then that would be a pretty intimidating task for a Weld County Police Department to take on, just like the John Benet Ramsey case. And then there's also the possibility of people being either related that work for the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, which is the CBI. A lot of people think CBI is the Central Bureau of Investigation, which it is not. It stands for the Colorado Bureau of Investigation. And you don't think that if Nichol Kessinger's parents were involved heavily with Anadarko and her stepmother was Chris Watts' boss at Anadarko, that they wouldn't have connections to the Weld County Police Department and or the CBI, aka Colorado Bureau of Investigations, ? And then it also begs the question, if Nichol Kessinger was on the North Carolina trip, would her work cover for her? And would that also beg the question of why more than half of the discovery was redacted from the public? ? Comment your thoughts below on all of this.
So were they staying there at your parents' house during that time?
Yeah, it was, so they would go from from Sandy and Frank's house for like a few days or 5 days, and then go to my mom and dad's house for a couple of days and come out back and forth.
Okay. So it happened during that time? They were there, yeah. Okay.
So there were so many things that happened, weren't there? That just were little tiny ingredients to this recipe.
Nothing like...
It's nuts, Chris. I mean, it's just so many things just didn't go your way.
Everything was like somebody was stirring a pot, and it was just...
That's exactly what it was like.
Like this one time I had to clean up the spill and I had defrost on, and I had like a headache for like 2 weeks because it's like the crude oil that comes in. Bad.
I have my theories. Nichol doesn't speak out, and we have a lot of confusion out here. So like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be alerted for when we do post new content, as we're always coming up with something new here over at New Scroll Hole. So become a scroller. Peace be with y'all.